Okay, so we are going to do the Big 12 assessment on Zane to identify 12 swing characteristics as pointed out by the Titleist Performance Institute and see if they're present in Zane's swing or not. So the first thing we're going to look at is from this down the line view is Zane's posture at address. So I'm going to put a line right through his ears and his hips. And then we're going to look at the shape of his back in relation to this line. And I like to be really nitpicky with this because posture dictates everything in your golf swing. And if we can really get your posture in a good neutral spine at address, that allows your body to work better. So if I'm going to be nitpicky here, I'm going to say Zane has what looks like a little bit of a S shape to his back. You can see a little roundedness in the upper spine and a little bit of too much of an anterior tilt in the pelvis. So that would be what's called a S posture. Okay, next thing we're going to look at is how does Zane maintain his posture through the golf swing. So I'm just going to put a couple lines on here just to give us some reference points. And then we're going to just take Zane through the swing. Pretty good so far. Turning his spine around that line, maintaining a little bit of flex in that back trail leg. And then coming down into impact, we can see his posture has changed quite a bit here. So that would be what's called a loss of posture. And we want to try to maintain posture as much as we can in the golf swing. All right, so next thing we're going to look at is how he's turning his shoulders. So I'm going to put a line on the club at address. And then we are going to move this line up over his shoulders. And we just want to see how he turns his shoulders in relation to the swing plane. So we'll come back. And you can see his left shoulder stays on top of that line. And his shoulders are more on that plane right there, which would be a flat shoulder plane. Okay, next thing we want to look at is what his hips are doing. So I'm going to put let's get right before he starts to swing, I'm going to put a red line right on the back of his hips here. And we just want to see how does he maintain contact with that line through the golf swing. Pretty good so far, coming off a little bit, and then on the way down, coming off a lot. This is called early extension. So if I put let's put the orange line on here, he's moved a good probably 3 inches closer to the ball before he's hit it. That's early extension. The hips are moving to the ball instead of rotating away from the ball. All right. And then the last thing we're going to look at from this down the line angle, let's clear this, is the actual swing plane and how he's using the club through the golf swing. So we're going to put a red line on the club at address, and then we're going to go halfway back where that left arm is parallel to the ground. I'm going to put a green line there. And then we're going to bring that back down on the downswing and see if he comes in the slot or where the club is coming. Right there we can see the club is over that green line or over the top, they call that. We want that club coming down in between the red and the green line, and he's coming over the top. All right. now we're going to go to the face on angle. All right, and then let's make him a little bigger here. Okay, from here, we are going to look at if he has any lateral movement in the golf swing. So I'm going to put a red line off of his trail foot. And we're just going to make sure he doesn't move his body past that red line on the backswing. And he doesn't. He keeps his body there. He's turning, which is good. Now I'm going to put another line off of his lead foot. And we're going to make sure he doesn't slide past that on the downswing. And he doesn't. He's not sliding at all. Okay. Next thing we're going to look at is what's called hanging back. And I'll keep these lines here. And if we go to the top of the backswing, he's got all that room to his left side to get to that. I'm gonna just put one here. So he's got all that space to get to his left side, and we can see he doesn't move to that line. And there's a lot of weight still on that trail foot, and he hasn't moved enough to the left side. That is called hanging back. And we want to definitely work on making sure he's getting more of that left side before he hits the ball. And then let's get rid of this. Next thing we're going to look at is casting or scooping. And if I put a line through his hips, we just want to see what gets to that line first, the hands or the club head. And I think the club head beats it just by a little bit, and that's a cast. At this point in the golf swing, we'd like to see that golf club still back here. All right, and then if we get down to impact, we see a definite scooping action here with the chicken wing. We want a straight left elbow, and we want a straight left wrist at impact with the back of the wrist pointing to the target. So there's a chicken wing with a scoop, all of which takes away power. And we want Zane to be using his legs a lot more and just allowing those arms to rotate through his body. But this is a good starting point. His fitness handicap for the Big 12 is a 22. We should definitely be able to help that. So we'll see you next time.